Hi there, this is Jen Cannon. Hey, we all know that excess weight is complex. For those of us who've carried excess weight over years, and I used to be a very big person, and I went in and out like a yo-yo for years until I finally worked out how to get rid of it. We all know that it's actually much more complicated than just exercise and and energy out equals energy in and all those sort of platitudes that people who've never had weight problems come out with. But the thing is that obesity is a major and growing health problem. We know that overweight people are more susceptible to these viruses and things that are around because they're not as, their immune system isn't as good because they're not as healthy. And we know that food and exercise are important, but oh boy, it's much more complicated than just reducing what you eat and doing more exercise. And in fact, a recent study showing that the relationship between obesity and the three health factors, total calories consumed, amount of exercise, and type of food, have changed so much over the last 3 decades. Some of the usual culprits are exposure to environmental toxins. So if you choose glass and stainless steel to put food in instead of plastic food, it helps avoid some of the toxins. Be careful washing your fresh food and choosing organic food. As long as you can afford it, it does cost more. Changes in your microbiome, all those wonderful, helpful bacteria that live inside your gut and do most of the digesting for you. The growing use of artificial sweeteners of processed food have a dreadfully negative impact on bacteria in the gut, and so do antidepressants and antibiotics, of course. The use of antidepressants has skyrocketed by nearly 400% since 1988, and now 11% of people aged 12 or older are taking at least one of these drugs. And that was before we started on this blessed pandemic and lockdown, so probably more people are on antidepressants now. Plus, over the last 18 months, stress and uncertainty have massively increased, and we all know that chronic stress takes a massive toll on your health, resulting in unhealthy behaviours such as overeating. Hey, that's just comfort. From the time you were born, baby cries, put something in its mouth. Hey, at 30, 40, 50 or beyond, you don't need to put something in your mouth every time you feel upset. When your stress levels remain high, so do levels of a very important hormone called cortisol, because that increases your appetite. Emotional eating, turning to comfort foods when you're faced with tension, stress and anxiety, depression, all become part of this pattern as well. And then there's lack of sleep. We get less sleep today than our peers did back in the 1940s. In 1942, the average was nearly 8 hours of sleep a night, compared with an average of 6.8 hours today. And in the past, I guess, the majority of people, a long way in the past, before we all had electricity, people used to go to sleep when it was dark and get up when it was daylight. And then there's the yo-yo effect. Weight loss followed by weight gain, over and over. I did that for years until I got wise. The problem is your body thinks it's in a famine when you lose the weight, and it needs to protect you by storing fat ready for the next self-induced famine. A very high proportion of people who come to me for weight loss have long-term stress, often going back to childhood. And I help people clear this first so that they can return to calm, better sleep, and lower cortisol levels. And then it becomes quite easy to take the weight off. Thanks.